All right, folks, we are back with another episode. This is Let's Talk Trades. I am your host, Jonte Hawkins, and today we had the opportunity to interview Mr. Trey Quinn. He's the owner of Black Mountain Painting, a painting cabinet refinishing company in Colorado. We had a very in-depth conversation and a lot of pertinent information and things on how to get started. This is a very broad market, especially in painting and cabinet refinishing. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. All right, we are back. I'm John T. Hawkins. This is Let's Talk Trades. Back with another episode. Today I'm with
What up, y'all? I'm Trey Quinn, Strong Dad. That's what they call me on the internet.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I follow you on Twitter, X, and was looking at some of your cabinetry work. So what is your profession?
So I am a painter, cabinet refinisher, wood refinishing, interior, exterior painting. If it can be done by a painter, I do it. We primarily specialize in cabinet refinishing and anything wood. So, and that also includes reconstructing. So, you'll have like old pillars that are made of old wood, things like that. We reconstruct that as well.
Perfect, perfect. How did you get into the cabinet industry?
So I was during my painting career, I left to go to Florida with an ex-girlfriend, young man's tale. And I was out there working in Sarasota, Mansion Alley, and I was gathering this experience. And then I ended up breaking up and I moved back here to Colorado, and the first place that I could find was a cabinet refinishing company. I thought about going back to my old painting company. They're a really premier painting company out here, but I was mainly looking for just something temporary to transfer into my own because I started considering running my own business. So I wanted to get a little more experience, and so I started working with a cabinet refinishing company called Project Paint. And then I saw how the workload was balanced in there, and over time I realized this is something that I could do probably. That's how it starts. I could probably do this, and and now it's the thing that I do the best.
Hmm. Yeah, it takes time, but once you get that experience in, it's a lot of stuff you'll see again, and you'll know exactly what to do, and
That's right. That's right.
things of that nature. So I always ask my guest, how are you introduced to the trades? So I know everybody's introduction may be a little different to the trades.
So I had been introduced to the trades because I'm an ex-convict. When I got out of prison, I had all this college experience, and that experience should have quantified to, six-figure jobs. And so I sought those jobs out and realized I was not going to get those with, a felony on my record. And I went to talk to my probation officer, and I just was straightforward. I said, I don't want to be a food service worker my whole life. I didn't like getting interviewed by people who were younger than me asking me what I saw for my life in 5 years. I just thought that was it was humiliating. It was humbling, really, is what it was. And so I talked to my probation officer, and they gave me a contact to a painter, Ireland's finest. And they said, now they normally don't hire felons, but you can always try. And so I gave him a call, and the owner was in the office, told me to come down, and we interviewed, and he just asked me some straightforward questions, what he would find on my record. And I told him everything about me, and he hired me on the spot. And at first, I wasn't going to stay with the trades. And then I remembered something my father used to tell me all of the time when I was younger. He used to say, uh, make sure you have a trade because they can't take that from you. If you work with your hands, they cannot take that from you. And I didn't understand it quite when I was younger, but throughout my life, I've had to rely on emergency job creation for moving, and it was my trade skill that kept me and the people that was with me afloat, and it's now the thing that I do that, feeds my family. So I fully understand what he means. When the pandemic came, people lost their jobs, and you know, we work with our hands. We are the job. We are all of those things. You have the need, the job, and the tools, and we are the job and the tools. So in the end, it became really apparent that this is where I should be.
Perfect. Yeah, you touched on a couple of things, the having that trade, having that skill, you'll never be broke. You'll always find a job. You can go to any state in the country and find work just because the demand is so high.
That's
And
right.
we talked about the pandemic. We were essential. Like when I never stopped working. I work for a company now. We're in 21 different states, and I think just Pennsylvania was the only state that actually shut down during COVID. None of the other states stopped working because we were essential in every state except for Pennsylvania.
That's right. That's right. All the trades, almost all the trades, because
Mhm.
that industry needs to continue moving, and we aren't an easily replaceable industry by, technology. What it would cost to get a robot to paint a house, I could I could do for a whole lot less, no shade on myself, but it's just it'll cost millions of dollars to make that robot. It'll cost 20,000 for me to paint that house for you.
Yeah,
So it's a no-brainer.
yeah, I agree. Yeah. So another one of the questions is, I was a former teacher, from the started in the federal prison system and moved to the community college system and high school system. And one of the things I noticed with it was that, especially here in North Carolina, the trades are fairly large, but it's scattered. That it's not in every county, it's not in every high school. And part of it is because we don't have the teachers to teach the courses. But the second part of it is there just isn't a demand for the courses in the high schools. It's always college, college, college. How were you exposed to any trades while you were in middle school, high school, anything things like that?
Uh, so actually, I was about to say no, but then I realized my generation was the last generation to do home ec and shop. So I was exposed to, commercial trade and also private trade, so I but not to the degree of teaching it as a potential career. Just more like they were about to get rid of these courses, so they were really just teaching them as electives and not
Right.
as life skills. Whereas the class before us and before that were probably getting those teachings in reference to life skills.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was totally different back when I was in school. And I came into the community college high school system to build out a construction academy. And I think that was one of maybe five or six in the entire state of North Carolina. And it's still going on to this day. But I think the vision is starting to change a little bit, especially with the student loan crisis that everyone's seeing, that the trades are a viable option. And that's why that was the entire premise behind what I'm doing with this show and going to talk to the kids and podcast is to expose them to this option because it's not being done.
Yes, yes. I think that young people don't view the trades. I think that they have a view of it as, just absolute backbreaking labor that, you never recover from. And part of that is that, that is partially true. That is partially true. There are a lot of guys who don't take care of themselves, and the labor does, does I used to watch guys with bow legs who, all they did was carry big giant toolboxes, and their trade formed their body. And so that's partially true. But the healthier the healthier experience of being a trade worker is the amount of time that you do have to make for yourself. It's dictating your hours more. It's if you are like myself, for instance, we can do one job that can, secure us, since it's just me, my wife and daughter, secure us for a month. So I can do that one job, and if I wanted to, I could just be home all month. If I needed to, I could just be home all month. I exercise in the morning. When I was employed, I didn't have that option. I had to do that after work.
Right.
Now I can tell the customer these are my hours. So I think that the freedom aspect is overlooked, and mainly because we often sell that you are always working on your business. You're always on the clock, and that is true. But it's different because these things are things you're earning for yourself. They're yours. Every hour is an hour towards your personal gain and not someone else's personal gain. So eventually, when it pays off in smaller dividends, you recognize that even during that time where you're thinking about the next bid and you're sitting with the kids, you're even there on a Monday sitting with the kids while most people are working thinking about a bid. You're already home. So I feel like that should be translated more, and maybe show people that there is a side to the trades that they don't believe exists.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things I, try to tell the kids that, the freedom is different, when you can set your own hours, and the money's different. Like, I always start with the money. That's how I get them hooked. Like, I'll tell them I'm licensed to $750,000 per contract in the state of North Carolina. And that they hear money like that, they're listening. They want to know what they need to do to get it. And but there's, like you said, there's still a stigma that these kids think that the trades are all backbreaking and things of that nature. Like, how do we break that stigma that that's still associated, with the trades?
I honestly believe that it will be less of a breaking of the stigma and more of them encountering resistance in life. I've come to learn that there are some of the lessons that provide the most worth are just best left learned. You can't even translate them, no matter how many times you, with experience, tell someone, I've done X, I've been here. Sometimes people just need to hit that wall of resistance to recognize that I didn't listen to my dad one bit every time he said that. I One bit all the way through prison, never thought about it until the day that I started working as a painter and recognized something that, had I recognized well before that, I could have been, much better off. So the lesson was just best left learned. And I think that what's going to happen is people are going to lose more work to the fast jobs, right? Because right now, what's trendy is a fast job. Amazon, stocking shelves, secret shopper, DoorDash, or all of these things. They are working on streamlining people out to create a higher level of productivity and profit. And while this is a fearful thing because you have to take care of yourself, this should also be a very motivating thing. You should look at it like Booker saw it when the slaves were eventually set free. And he's like, hey, man, we got the chance to own this land. This is what this is. This is you being set free. They're going to take your job and you're going to be set free. And we'll be here to, well, with open arms to show them the proper way into the trade fields. I think that's the best way, to just be a net.
Yeah, that's an honest answer, and I've never heard that one before. That's a great explanation. Be 100% honest with you, because
Thank you.
it's changing. You said a lot of these jobs are going to be gone. 100%. They're as fast as AI is growing and automation's growing. Like you said, those warehouse positions, they become liabilities. It's easier to put a machine in there.
That's
So you
right.
won't have to worry about injuries. You won't have to worry about workers' comp. You won't have to worry about insurance. Ultimately, it's going to pay for itself. The ROI is going to get closer and closer to the point
That's
where
right.
it'll pay for itself.
That's
And
absolutely right.
as fast as technology is coming, it'll be here before you know it. To be 100% honest with you.
It'll be at a point where if you don't program, you just won't have a spot in that field. Even people behind the desk who do, people who have desk jobs or sell insurance, that can be automated. That can be automated. You are there, everybody's job is downstream from automation for when it'll hit them. And we're probably the furthest from the furthest down that stream. And that gives more generational opportunities. It's going to take a long time before before we start looking at the things we do throughout the trade fields as in jeopardy, truly. That really, our jobs will be made easier. We'll have robots that show us where to put this nail and that nail, that but at the end of the day, it's just the workload is still going to be on us, and people are going to see us working like they did during the pandemic, and there'll be a resurgence in the trades like there was after the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So, what would you say to anyone interested in getting into the trades?
Do it immediately. I would say, okay, I wouldn't say do it immediately. Let me take that back. I would say spend at least, a few weeks just trying to figure out what it is you really would like to do, because once you start this process, even though, let's say for what I do, right, to start being a painter isn't necessarily expensive, but there will be a point in time where you have to get all of these tools, and you have to go out and secure jobs, and you have to be the one talking to customers. You have to learn how to estimate. You have to do things you didn't think you were going to do. You're now customer care. You're not just a guy who shows up and lays down the caulk or and cleans this or sands that. You're the first stop and the last stop and every stop in between. And if you're just starting, chances are you're by yourself. So I would say take a little bit of time to really ask yourself, is this something that I want to do? And also, if you have friends who are as motivated as you, then create little 2 to 3 man groups. Um, don't make giant, conglomerates, just make small groups. And it's funny, you asked me this question, and so the answer, this is the answer. Okay, this is the answer for the young people out there who want to transform a community. You have all of these trades that make up a house. Okay, one house, multiple trades make up that house. Instead of creating a business where you're a jack of all trades, you do this, that, and everything. You're in an area that's perhaps a little impoverished or a little drawn out of money. So you become painters, your friends become plumbers, your friends become electricians. You make little mini groups that comprise the trades that make up a house. Now, the money is split amongst all of you evenly rather than all of you fighting for the same type of trade skill, for the same type of job. And so you can separate your earnings, and now you guys are building up smaller businesses, and you can afford to tackle little tiny homes. You're not trying to pay 8 guys, you're just paying 3 guys. And so your neighborhood is going to transform. People call you, then they need somebody who needs a job done that's not something you do. So the reference is your friend. And so now the money circulates in the community through trade work. That's the answer right
Yeah,
there.
that's exactly how it's done. Exactly how it's done. I still keep in touch with all of my subcontractors, and that's how we got started. Like I met a lot of those guys in community college. Like the guy I use as my electrician, I went to community college with. and he was working and getting 100% contact hours. So he was able to get his license pretty much straight out of community college because he had already had his contact hours. Me, on the other hand, I said I wasn't working for anybody else, and went a different route. And whenever I have electrical issues, I give him a call. Like my HVAC guy, same thing. I brought him in to start working when I was doing federal work, and he comes to service my HVAC here. Like he's gonna always get my money as long as he's in business,
Right.
right? That's how it goes.
That's right.
So
You can kick your homies back. You know what I'm saying? You can share the wealth the same way that, when we're out there doing bad things and we're sharing the wealth with each other, that part of the equation doesn't disappear. Just the way you carry yourself changes. But
exactly.
we're still out here hustling, and you still want your homies to eat. So like you give him work if he knows a drywaller from the community and he's passing his work to the drywaller because the drywaller has to work with him sometimes and he's got to cut holes in some of these walls. He might as well call his drywaller. And now let me put this drywall up. I could paint it, but let me call my painter. And that's
Mhm.
how you make that, that's how you build up an area slowly and
Yeah,
transform it. They did it in Port Charlotte. I watched them do it in Port Charlotte. So
yeah. That's how it's done. My last question is, I always talk about how the trades helped me. I never thought that I would be in a position I'm in when I decided to take that step, back in 2006, 2007. And, I always champion the trades because it got me to the position I'm in now. And, how has the trades helped you?
in a multitude of ways. The trades have helped bring me peace. You know, there'll be days where I'm just working on doors and I'm filling holes all day. I'm just putting hole after hole all day, and I can listen to a book, or I can escape from my entire reality because I'm skilled to the level now where I'm just doing what I gotta do. It allows for you to really just meditate and think about life. It honestly, I understand why the Jesus was a carpenter thing is it why it really is a thing. It really is a thing. You can get closer to yourself during those times where it's just you and the job. And also it's made me feel just powerful and more in control of the things within my reach and grasp, knowing my capabilities. Now, it, if I don't want to take my car to the shop, I am not afraid to learn to fix this or to do that. Uh, really, honestly, I'm not a, I want to fix and do everything. I don't want to outsource anything to anybody because I feel that empowered because I'm a trade worker. Honestly, I feel like, I, I bragged about this once. We are a part of the oldest industry known to man besides maybe prostitution. We're the oldest industry. People have been working with their hands since the beginning of time, and we are a part of that legacy. And you don't recognize you don't recognize how important that is until you change the value of just like two houses in a neighborhood. You drive through the neighborhood, you realize that what you did on that house is now a part of a person's story. And when they move from that home, your essence is there. You're a part of the I did a job where I peeled back wallpaper, and we peeled back 12 layers of wallpaper on this house that was lead paint, and then it was wallpaper underneath the lead paint. So this is an old house. And the 12th layer, while I was peeling, this is where I thought about this right here, was that I was looking at this 12th layer and I realized, I said, somebody put this up. Somebody spent time in this whole house making sure every line and seam was perfect, every cut and crease was right. They spent time and energy here. And this is their energy in this house. And when we're done and we leave, my energy will be in this house the same way. it's an incredible feeling. That's what I get out of it. I do feel fulfilled that I don't want to retire, but I do. It's you know it becomes hard.
Perfect. That's another great explanation. So again, I want to thank you for your time and the interview. Do you want to give everyone your social media information?
Yeah, so again, I'm Trey. My company is Black Mountain Painting. We are moving to the East Coast, so if I'm ever around in your area, hit me up. We'll make your cabinets look excellent. My YouTube is the Strong Dad Protocol. We teach fitness, and you don't want to encounter me on Twitter.
Perfect. Like I said, again, thank you for your time. And
Absolutely.
again, we'll definitely keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And there you have it. I would like again to thank Mr. Quinn for the interview. And as always, the links to his YouTube will be in the show notes. And again, there's a lot of different trades out here in the industry, and all of them are looking for people. So if you have a trade that you're interested in that you would like me to do research on, I can be reached at johntay@letstalktrades.com. Always like, comment, subscribe, share, tell students about this podcast. And as always, let's talk about it.